Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This will be a very special video because in this video we're gonna make one basic pattern from which we can make every pant that exists. You saw in the title already, we'll make one pattern and we're gonna make three pants out of it. But after we do that, or while we do that, I'm gonna show you that you can make much more pants out of this just one pattern, because you can make any adjustments, any alterations that you want, so that you can really make every trouser there is in the world to make with this one pattern. And also the nice thing is you can also use this pattern for men and for children. So also for your husband or your boyfriend or your children, you can use this pattern with their sizes, of course, and make clothing for them too. Of course, I made many things in my life, and I don't make a pattern every time that I want to sew something. For everything I have a basic pattern, and I make my alterations for whatever I want to make then, for blouses, for skirts, for dresses, for whatever, because you can't always draw a new pattern every time, because it's very much work, and you don't have to, because you just need the basic one. So we're gonna make one pattern with adjustments for three different trousers. We're gonna make two. Well, I'll make two, but two are rather the same. And I'm gonna show you how you can make all the other adjustments for all the other trousers with this same pattern.
And these are the pants that we're gonna make. The left one is a tailored pants that has darts from the waistband down. The pleated pants is the second pants. They have pleats from the waistband down. And the third one is a paperback pants, and they have all pleats all around, very wide on top. And I'm certainly going to make the legs wider, because I don't think this looks nice with that wide top of the trousers and those small legs. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to change the width of the legs from all the pants, I must say, because also number one and number two, I think, have a little bit too tight legs for my taste. So we're going to change the basic pattern for the tailored pants with a red marker, for the pleated pants with blue, and for the paperback pants with green. And then you can see that it's not really that much of a difference to make these three pants out of that one basic pattern. So I'm going to show you now.
Okay, we're going to start with drawing the pattern for the front of the trousers. Don't be afraid, it looks very difficult, but it really isn't. So just draw with me as I tell you what to do. So first, make one line straight down in the middle of your paper from A to B, and that is the length of your pants, from your waist to as long as you want it to be. Then you measure how low your hips are from your waist, and when you have made the measurements in my first video, certainly take that with you, because you need that. If you don't know how to make this, go back to my first video of Make What You See in the Shops. Then you learn how you take your measurements, and you can always use this, so keep this always on hand when you want to make a pattern. So the height of your hips is point C, and in point C you mark that on the line from A to B. Then you measure your sitting height, and we didn't do that in the first video, but I insert a clip here now how you can measure your sitting height. In this drawing you can see how you can measure your sitting height. So you sit on a chair and you measure how much it is between your waist and your seat of your chair, and that is your sitting height. So now you have your sitting height. You can mark that D. For me that was 27 centimeters. Normally I think it is 28 for most of the people, so maybe you have 28. That is certainly fine. So somewhere around that will be your measurement. And then you mark your knee length, so that is the length from your waist to your knee, and you mark it as A on that same line from A to B. Then we're gonna have some sort of measurements. What you had in your measures is your quarter hip, and you take that quarter hip and you take add that with a quarter of your quarter hip, and then you divide it by 2. And for me it is to mark point P, and for me that is, my quarter hip is 22, a quarter of that is 4.5, so together it's 26.5. Then I divide it by 2 and then I have 13. So the point from D to P for me is 13. So that's that point. Then we go to F. That is the same measurement as this. So also the 13 goes in a straight line from P to F through D. So you can mark F on this point. Then you go straight line up to H. That's just a straight line. And then you can mark this straight line because this is your quarter hip that you already measured. That was the 22 for me. So you can draw this line that goes to I. Then we go up from P to I. This was your hip size, quarter hip. So you make a curved line going up to I and then a straight line up to J. And J is the top of the trousers. So this is your waistline, your waist measurement, your quarter waist measurement I must say. For me that is 17. And you add that with 1.5 because you want a dart in here. For women you always must do a dart, otherwise it won't fit nicely. For men and for children you don't have to do that. So you mark point K for your quarter waist plus 1.5 for the dart. So this is point K, 7 centimeters from point K is point L, and there you mark the dart. This is a really tiny dart, so should be a little bit more. My marker doesn't work anymore. So it should be somewhat 5 centimeters or so, and it is normally 1.5 centimeter wide in this case. Then you have a small dart. Then you have the whole drawing for the front part, and we're gonna adjust this for the other 2 pants and many more pants when we have done the back part too. So we're gonna do the back part first. And we're going for the back. And first again we make one straight line in the middle of your paper from A to B, and that is this line to all the way outside of the cover, the length of the trousers. So A to B is the length. On that line you put C, and C is the height of your hips, and we put D, that's the sitting height. So this was 16 for me, this was for me 27, and you mark the knee height. And for me that was 51, but for you I'm sure it's much more. In that line we put for D, we put a straight line, and on this line you mark a point F and G, and they are both a quarter hip plus half the quarter hip. So my quarter hip was 22, plus half of it is 11, and you divide it by 2, and then you have, in my case, 16.5. So your quarter hip plus half of your quarter hip is this distance to G and also to F. So this is the same width. Then you go the line from A to B, you go up to H, and H is half of your hip size divided by 4 plus 1. So my hip size is 22 divided by 4 is 5.5 about, plus 1. So half of your hip size divided by 4 plus 1. Of your quarter hip size divided by 4 plus 1 goes straight up to H. Then you put a line perpendicular on A, and that is your quarter waistline plus 3, and then you go to H. So your quarter waist plus 3 go to I. Sorry, it's not H, it's I. Quarter waist from A to H, and in the middle of that line it's G, and G is the top of the dart
we're gonna make here, and because in the back it's nice when you have a long dart, so we go 12 down, and this is 3. So that's the 3 that we just added to the quarter waist to put this extra. That's that. What else do we need? Okay, then you're gonna draw a line perpendicular on this line straight down, like this. And on the hip height of this line, you put K. So that this is the hip height. For me, that was, how was my hip height? 16. So this is perpendicular on this line. You mark K. Then you make a line straight through C that you have here, and where this line crosses the straight line you just draw, there you have M. And when you go all the way to the other side with that line, you go L, and L is a quarter hip to the left. So quarter hip from here, there where you can mark L. Then you can connect this line down to here and to there. Then we go make a line for E. E is all the way down here from the knee length. And then you can mark, make a straight line. You're gonna mark here, mark N. And that is half of your quarter hip plus 2. So my quarter hip was 22, half of that is 11, and you add it by 2. Then you have N, and I didn't put the letter one, but you do that the same to the other side, and then you hear FO. And you go make a line through D, straight line through D, and to get point F and G is you take your quarter hip plus half of it. So my quarter hip is 22, half of it is 11, you add that, so it's 22 plus 11, that's 33, and you divide it by 2. So this is 16 and a half, this is 16 and a half, you have F and G. And then you make this line you already draw, you make it in a curve all the way to G. And this is the back of the crotch. And then I think we have the whole drawing. Yes. And you have your whole back pattern. What we're going to do now, we're going to use this for the 3 trousers we're going to make. This part and the front part we now did is for a tailored trousers. So it's a straight trousers with a dart in the front and a dart in the back. So it's a pretty classic trousers. We're going to use this pattern for that, and we're going to make the adjustments for the trousers with the pleats in the front, and we're going to use this to make the paperback trousers. And you will say, well, there's totally different things. You'll see it is not. It is almost the same, and I'm going to make the paperback trousers, and I'm not decided yet if I want to make the classic trousers, the tailored trousers like this basic pattern, or if I want to make the pleated trousers. So I'm gonna see when I have cut it out of the fabric which one I'm gonna choose, because I can just alternate in between when I'm sewing it. But before that, we're gonna make the adjustments for these 3. We're gonna do this on the same paper in the different colors that I already shown you on the pictures of the trousers, and that's what we're going to do now. And we're going to start with the front part. And there's one more thing I want to say before we make the adjustments for the other trousers. This is a basic pattern. You can use this for any trouser you want to make in the future. The easiest thing to do is make this trouser out of some cheap material to see how it fits. Make adjustments if you need to, and immediately after that make the adjustments on the pattern, because then you have your pattern exactly how you want it to your size. And also in the future, when you gain weight or lose some weight, immediately make the adjustments on the pattern, because then always the pattern will be right to your sizing, and you can always use it to make whatever trouser you want, because you know that this sizing is okay, and you just need to make the adjustments because of the style you want the trousers to be. So always keep this pattern and make the adjustments in between the time when you think you need, and especially now when you make the first one, look how things fit or don't fit. If you want things different or wider or smaller, then you know that this is the right one. For me especially, I see this as this height. So for me, I know I have to adjust this a bit down, and if I do that with my basic pattern, then I know for sure for the next patterns this is always my sizing and my body shape, because that is what we can do with this pattern. Okay, we're gonna make this pattern first, the adjustments for the tailored pants. It's not too much, because this is already a tailored pant, but I want it a little bit different. Also because I'm not sure if I want it tailored or I want it pleated. So if I make some adjustments, then I can choose either what I like with the same pattern. So what I want to do is, I want this little dart here, I want to make it that I can also use it as a pleat. So I make it a little bit wider. So I add 1 centimeter from the side here, that I have a little bit more for this dart, and I can also make a pleat out of it. And I want to make another pleat or dart, whatever I use, and I also make this the same width as this one. The sound that you hear now is my dog drinking in his bowl, and he makes a lot of noise. I hope that he would be quiet, but he isn't, so sorry for the noise. Hope he is done soon. So now I have 2 darts here, but because I have these darts to put in, I have to put extra to the sides. I added a centimeter here, and I added 3 here, so I need to add 4 here on the side. And this, so we have to make an adjustment on the side seam, because we need some more fabric, like this. What I can do then, I can make a dart out of it, so sew this together, or I can fold it in, and I can show you when we have this in fabric, fold it in, and then I have a pleat. So it's either what I like, so I can choose when I have this in fabric. Then what I want to have pockets, of course, in here, and I like the pockets where you put your hand in, and usually I do that just by making a line like this, and then what you do, you cut this line out. So this is the end of this pattern, and this one will be the part of the pocket. And that's what I'm gonna show you now on another piece of paper, how you make a pocket for this. I made the pocket, so I just drew this line because I want here the pocket to be in. And what you do is you can transfer that to another piece of paper, the same line and this same pocket insert, and you draw this on a piece of paper. I made the pocket a little bit short, so this line is not okay, it's this line, and you fold it over, and then you take this line exactly the same on this line. So then you have your pocket that you can sew under this, and what you have is this part, it takes over this part. So your basic pattern you cut off here because you don't need this anymore, because this is taken over, of this goes under your pattern, and this is the part that should be there. So you So this is for the tailored pants, but as I think now it's also immediately for the pleated pants, because I don't have to change anything for this. I can choose whether I want this as darts or I want this as pleats, all the same. For the back we don't have to change anything, because they also have that dart in the back, and for both the trousers it's the same. So this is for the red, the pattern, and also for the blue. Now we're gonna make it for the green, for the paperback trousers, and we can also use this pocket for all the pants. What you also can do, this is a straight line. What you also can do is make it a curved line, so it's a more open pocket. You can do whatever you like. That's the nice thing of making your pattern yourself. You can make whatever you like. If you want it more open, then this will be just the same. This will be a rounded curve, and this what goes over also gets a rounded curve, and you cut this off like this, and this goes under the pattern. So it's all just what you like, how you want to make it. You can choose whatever you like. So every pocket you can do what you want. You can also do an inseam pocket, and you can see in my tutorial of the camel coat how you do that. That is also nice because you don't see it, but it makes a little bit more bulky, so I don't like that too much. I really like this one. So now for the paperback pant. I saw in the picture the legs of the paperback pant were very small. I don't like that. I really want them wide. I even make them for the tailored one and the pleated one also wider. So measure how wide you want your legs to be. This for the paperback, what we gonna have is also the pleats. So we also already have 2 pleats, but I think it's nice when we have another pleat. So we make it another wider. And maybe it's nice to give them just the same width as these 2 are. Oh, it's easier. I think this was 3 centimeters. Yes, so we put another pleat on top of it. I also give the blue one the same as the red, because the blue and the red were the same alterations. But then you can see that it's also there for the blue. This for the green, and this is also extra for the green. I hope you understand with all these colors what was the basic and what was not. So please for yourself hold the basic apart and make adjustments on another piece of paper. We added 3, so we have to add another 3 here. Back to the side, but I think you want the legs wider anyway, so we're gonna go all the way down. I think we're gonna do a straight line for the paperback. And because the paperback has this cinched in waist with a piece on top of it, we have to make this higher. Normally for the other 2 pants we get a waistband on top of this. But now we also get a belt around here, and on top of that we need some more fabric to pull over. So we need, well, I have 5 centimeters here on my paper, but I would rather want more, because I don't think that's enough. I would rather go up here with about 8 centimeters. Then we have enough fabric here to fold it over the belt that you want here to cinch the pleats in. So give it at least a centimeter of 8. And you also need the facing to fold in to the inside. So give it another 8 for the facing. So I think I will add for me 8 centimeters on top of the pleats, and then another 8 centimeters to fold it in. So for the paperback trousers. Maybe you say you didn't tell me about this part. I didn't. That's right. This is the facing for the zipper. You fold it under, and then you have this form you stitch over here, you know that from the regular trousers, and you also need it on the other side because that's the facing for your zipper on the other side. So, and in this way you can make all the 3 trousers as you like. Decide what you want to do with the pockets for the paperback pants. I'm not sure what I will do. I think I don't give it pockets because I don't think it's really nice, because you have all the pleats here and the cinched in waist. I think it's a bit much if you have a pocket there too. But of course what you did here, you can also just shift it to this side and make just the same pocket for the green one there. All the same, doesn't matter how you want it. But think about it before you make it, because then you are too late. So these are all the patterns. I hope you understand what I meant to say. If you have any questions, then please leave them below and I will get back to you to explain what I meant. And the only thing I want now before we get cutting and sewing is to show you how you can adjust this pattern for some special things. And I have some drawings from a book that are really nice to show how you can do that. And of course with this you can make anything. You can make jog pants. Doesn't matter what, just give it some width if you want to cinch it in, or if you want to. You can make an elasticated waistband with wide leg trousers. Then you give it enough width that you can just pull it over your hips, that you don't need the zipper here. So then measure your hip width and give that the all width of the trousers all the way up, and make wide legs, or make it legs going in on the bottoms with elastic. Whatever you like, you can use this for any pants there are in the world, literally, really. Okay, that's the pattern, and I show you some alterations you can make also with this pattern now. And for the paperback pants we have to adjust the back because we want also the pleats in the back and not only in the front. So here we have the pleat, we have the dart we have here, but we want them to be pleats, so that's okay. We can leave this like this. But we have to add another pleat besides this one. So we're gonna draft another one. This one was 3, so we make another 3, go down there. No, you don't have to draw this because it's gonna be a fold, so there's no need to draw this, but I think it's also nicer to see. And I think I want another one, so I make another one here for 3 centimeters, and I need some extra fabric on the side. So we have another pleat here and some fabric here, other ruler, and then we go down here like this, maybe all the way down. Maybe you want to go more back in, whatever you like for the width of your pants. And also, okay, of course here you have to go 8 up for the top of the waist, and give it another 8 for the facing to fold in. And of course you can also change the legs of the pants. These are mid-width, it's about the width of a dress pant. You can make them really wider by just going straight down from the hip width, or even more if you like, or going out, of course. Make sure you take it from the outside and from the inside of the leg, but don't go from the crotch straight out, because then you get a really strange curve between your legs. So go a bit lower, and then you can make any width you would like. If you want really wide legs, then it's nice to go out like that and a bit out like that. What you also can do is, when you know your knee length, you have marked it here, is make a flared pants. So then you go out from the knee down, then you go down and then out. What you also can do is make a slim fit pants, or skinny even, but I would recommend you to begin with a moderate slimming, and then in the fitting process pin down to your legs how small you can go, because it's depending on the stretch of your fabric and how it looks. Now these are some really nice alterations that you maybe couldn't think of yourself. They made the wide leg pants going wider to the bottom, not by just cutting it wider straight down, but they cut it in and then you flare it out, and then you have not so much more width here on top, but you have many width down the bottom, and then you get really these flowy pants. And it's really nice to make skirts or trousers this way, because you get really flowy pants like this. And also nice to do is this, I don't know how they call it in English. In Dutch they call it a harenbroek. It's a pirate's pants. I don't know what, but you see what it is in the picture right on the right. You do the same as the other trousers. You cut them in and you flare them out, but now not on the legs but on the top. And then you get really nice fabric folds down the crotch area. It's a very beautiful fabric, very soft. It looks like faux suede, but they call it peach skin. I cut out the front, the back and the pockets. So we start with the pockets, putting the pockets onto the front pant, and it means the angled part we're gonna sew to the angled side of the front pattern like this, and then when you fold it in, when you've sewn it, then you fold it back. See what I did? I fold it in and then I fold it back, and then you immediately have your pocket like this. So here's your pocket insert. You can top stitch this one. I won't do it because I like, with this fabric, I like it to be as sleek as possible. So I iron it down that it's nice and flat, but I don't top stitch it. So you do that, then you close up here the pocket, and then we can put the back part on top of it, and we can close the whole side seam, and we can close the whole inner seam. But I have the double one now, so like this. The whole inner leg of the pants. And what I did, I marked on my pattern where the pleats or the folds will be, or the darts. I marked where they fold, and I marked the point of the pleats when of the darts when I wanted to make it darts. I'll show you later how exactly I'm gonna do it. But when you make a pleat, you put those two together and you sew it from the other side to that point. And when you make pleats, you fold this part to that part, and you just sew it on top of it. But I'll show you when I have made these two together. So we're going to sew the pockets to the front part. As you know, I like to use my serger, but you can certainly do this with your normal sewing machine. You don't even have to finish this because your pocket is going to fold over, so you can just use a straight stitch here for this seam. Well, maybe it's a bit confusing because my fabric from the inside is grey and the outside is pink, so it is really the same material, but it looks different from the other side. So we have two legs now. We sewed the outside seam and the inner leg seam. The pockets are in, so we're very far already. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew the crotch seam, and for that we're gonna put one leg into the other. So the right side goes into the one that's with the wrong side out,
and you shove the whole leg in, and then you take the crotch seams and you put them together. So that is where the inside seam, the in leg seam ends. That's the crotch seam. First put it good in, because otherwise we can't make it right. A lot of fabric, because it's the whole trousers now together. Okay, so we have the two crotch seams together. You pin that, and then you pin the whole seam on the back. So that is the seam where there's not the zipper facing. So the one with the curve, that's the front. This is the back. So you're going to pin this up all the way to the top of the trousers. Nice to wear, I think. Okay, so the back seam, and then we go from the crotch to the front. And that's where the facing is for the zipper. And you're gonna sew this up. It's a bit depending on how long a zipper you have. So measure how long your zipper is to where you need to sew this seam up. And then you're gonna sew that, finish that, and then it's time to do the fitting and to see what adjustments you have to make for the trousers, and also immediately after that do the same adjustments on your pattern, so that you're sure that your pattern is exactly right for you. And for me, it's also, I have to make the choice whether I want this to be darts or I want this to be pleats. So whether I make trouser 1 or trouser 2. So we're gonna sew the crotch seam and then do the fitting, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you what adjustments I did and what my choice will be. Okay, before I do the fitting, I want to do the darts first in the back, because otherwise your sizing will be different. And I want to show you how I do that. You put a pin on the point of the dart in the back, it's the back part of the pattern, and you put that just straight through. And then you place the two points of the top of the dart together, fold it together, turn it to the outside, and take the pin that you just pushed out. That will be the end of the dart. These two on the top must be together, and there you put your pin to secure them exactly where the two meet, and then you fold your fabric to where your pin is sticking out. And it's very easy. If you just pull it out, then you immediately get your perfect dart, because your fabric just folds together. And then you pin from that end to the end of the dart, just where it's sticking out. So you make a straight line from the end to the other end. And as you have seen my tutorial for the bikini, I taught you how you can make a nicer dart without sticking out or falling in down here, is that you don't make it a straight line, but you finish, you see that you finish just a little bit earlier than where the pin is sticking out, so a centimeter before. You try to reach almost the end of the fabric, and then you go just along the side to the end where the pin is sticking out. When you have just a straight line, then you have some fabric here left, and you get a dip or a nipple at the end, and that doesn't look nice. So try to do that if you can. Then you are professional, because only professionals can do that. So try to make it. Okay guys, I did the fitting and I'm really excited because it looked really good. As you know, I don't really like trousers or pants. I'm more of a skirt or dress girl, but this was really great. It turned out way more better than I had expected. The only thing that I had to adjust
is exactly what I said before, what I already thought. I have to cut off some of this. Wait, I'll put this side, it's better to see. That point on the back that goes up from A to H. For me that's way too much because I have a very flat butt, so I don't need that much of fabric here. So I see how much did I pin down? Rather quite a bit. I have to take off 5 centimeters. So I think this whole, almost whole this extension is not for me. So I make the adjustment right now for the next project. I know that I don't need all this space. Oh no, I have to do there one more. That's 5 centimeters less. So I have to take this entirely off. And because this is now also my pattern for the paperback trousers, I can cut it off because I need this too. But if you have your separate patterns, save your basic pattern always, then you just cut off what you don't need and you don't have to think about it next time. So that's the only adjustment for me that I have to make for the trousers. The size was exactly good, and I like that because I haven't used this basic pattern for years, because as I already told, I have patterns for everything in fashion because I make so much. I have my basic pattern and I've adjusted it in time, and it's a long time that I really measured it out like we did. And it's nice to see that it exactly is how it should be. It's exactly the size that you need and the form that you need for your sizing and your body type. So I'm very happy with it, very happy how it looks. So I hope you all turned out too. If you have any problems with adjusting, let me know, then I'll help you and I can tell you how you can make your adjustments. So I cut this piece off of my pants later on, but I want to show you now because the next step is the zipper, and most people think zippers are very difficult, but it is really not if you do it just step by step. So what you need to do is you must make sure that the end of your crotch seam is just a little bit higher than than the length of your zipper. And then because we are women, we go the right side goes over the left side. That's for women. For men it's the other way around. So first we put the zipper under the left the left pattern, and put it other way around. That's easier to show you. So what you do is the facing that you have cut on, that curved thing, you fold it in, and you fold it in just a bit less than where your pins here, just a second. A little bit less than where your seam ends. So your seam ends here, and you fold it in just half a centimeter less. Fold it in, and then you put your one side of your zipper, the band of your zipper, underneath the fold. So I hope you can see that, otherwise I'll try to zoom in the film. You fold it to the inside, and then you pin it on the band of the zipper as close as you can to the edges. I don't know what it's called in English. And you pin it all the way down to the end where your seam begins. And you're gonna sew this. When we have done that, I'll come back for the other side. And for the other side you need such a rectangle that's double folded, and it's finished on 2 of the sides. You can do 3, but we need 2 sides finished. And this piece is the length of your zipper, and mine was a 21, and it is, for me, I made 7 centimeters and then double folded, so this is 3.5. You need that for the next step, so make that already, then we can go on when we come back, when we have sewn in this one. So good luck. Oh, and I wanted to show you one more thing, because I decided what trousers I want to make. It's gonna be the pleated one, because it looked really nice, it looked really classy, very sleek. So I tried this first, and it stayed like that. So what I did, I folded, I will release one, then you can see it. You have your pins from the pattern like this,
And what you do is you fold one pin with the fabric towards the other one, and then you secure that pleat. And then you have your pleat. I have two on this side, two on this side, and it looked really nice. If you don't want to do the pleats but you want to do the darts, then it's exactly the same as if you did in the back. You put the two pins together, but with the fabric inside, and then you pin towards the end of the dart, and you sew the dart, and then you have the darts not only on the back but also on the front, and I think that will look very nice too. You can do one, you can do two. The basic pattern is one, but I mostly like more two, because usually women have a smaller waist and then it falls more nicely and it cinches in a bit more to the waist. So when you're sewing in a zipper, make sure you have a zipper foot, because that's the only way that you can get really close to the teeth. That was the word that I was looking for. To the teeth of the zipper. Look what side you need of the foot. I have my zipper on the left side, so I want my foot to be on the left too. Lock that in, and then make sure you always go from the down part to the upper part. That's then you're sure that your zipper goes in right, and not that you have fabric left when you go the other way around. So always go from the down part to the upper part. Now what you do when you have one side of the zipper attached, and you take your extra piece with the finished edge downwards to the end of the zipper, and then you align them with the zipper so that it's just a bit outside the other end of the zipper, like this. Make sure that the top is also aligned, and then you pin this part, and you pin it, and you're gonna sew it straight over the line that you just sewed. So now what you do is make sure you have finished this edge of the curved zipper facing, and then you pin this side on top of the other. So just left from the stitching here, where it's the end of the seam, the crotch seam, there you're gonna pin this part on top of the other one, because then you're sure that the end result is a really nice closure here. And this is the easiest way to get it nice, otherwise it's very difficult to get a really nice overlap and a really nice stitching, because when this is not nice, your whole pant doesn't look right, and then it also looks very self-made, and I really hate that. So make sure you pin this really nice, that the overlap is okay, that it's straight, and then what you do is you turn it around to the inside, and then when you open up the facing, you can see here the zipper, and this is the facing that is belonging to this zipper band. And because the fabric is already attached to each other, you can just pin your zipper to the facing, because it cannot move anywhere else. It's just like this together. You can feel it. You cannot pin it the wrong way, because you cannot move them from each other. So you pin this, and you fold it back to see if you did it right. Everything must be smooth, and that's okay. When you look like this, it's okay. And then you don't have to make the stitching that you see already. You can just first start with stitching your zipper band to your facing, like where you just pinned it. And when you've done that, then your zipper is secured to the entire trousers.
So then it's the only thing you have to do is to make a really nice stitching. It's more of a finishing stitching because it doesn't attach anything to each other. It's just for the fun that it looks really nice, and you have no problems with zippers that are not right or whatever. The only thing when you make that stitching is that you must fold away this part, because otherwise you will take it together and sometimes you can't open the zipper. So when you make that stitching, fold this back so that you don't attach this to it. Normally it goes okay, but not always. So just in case, make sure you pin that away. So we're gonna make that, attach the zipper and then make the nice stitching there. Ooh, I see the sun is coming through. So I hope you can see this, what I did. Okay, I hope you managed doing the zipper. I think when you do it this way, it's really not that difficult to put the zipper in very nicely. I made a nice stitching here. I'm gonna make a reinforcement stitching down here on the bottom of the zippers and also on the bottom of the pockets, because they tend to tear very easily. So when you do that, then you have that secured also. So now we only have to do the waistband. You can measure the circumference of the trousers, or you can put the trousers on and then measure how much you want the waistband to be. Certainly when you want to make any adjustments with the waistband, you can make it a little bit tighter if you think your trousers are a bit too wide. In this case, you can also put the pleats a little bit tighter, and then you have the perfect waist. So in this case, it doesn't really matter. So I made mine 8 centimeters wide, 3 plus 1 for the seam. So I fold them together, and I made the length of my waist plus 5 for the overlap for the button. So now what you do is you're gonna first stitch one end of the waistband together. Then you turn it over to the right side. And then you pin it on the top edge of your trousers. Usually it's nicest to put the overlap as an underlap in case of this trouser, because this is really rather classy trousers. So then I like to put it like this, and this is exactly the seam of the zipper. You can also do it as an extra overlap, but I don't really like it, but it's just what you prefer. So you put this on top of your pants, pin it all the way around, and then sew it all the way around, and then you turn it, I'll pin it and I can show you. When you've sewn it all the way around, you turn it to the other side, and I think what is most to do now is just sew this by hand, put it in a little bit, half a centimeter, and then sew this by hand from the other side. Then you have a really crisp waistband on top of your pants, and then just make a button, and of course do the hems on the bottom of the legs, and then you're finished. And I'm very excited to show you how this one turned out, because I'm really happy how it looks. Okay, and this is the end result. I really like how it turned out. I think it's really cute. I think it's really nice fabric. I'm very happy with it. Looks, it fits perfectly. Of course, you can see the back is really nice and tight to the waist, and I'm really happy with the result. It looks nice. I made the length that I can wear it with heels like now, but also with boots, because then it's more versatile. So I try to make the length as versatile as possible, because then you can wear it the most. And I'm really happy with the result, and I hope that yours turned out well too. You can see, maybe if I show you like this, the pleats. I opted for the pleats here. If you took pants 1, then you would have the darts in the front like the ones in the back. Then you have 2 darts here, and I think that's very nice too. But I had this in my mind to have a pants with, so I'm very happy with the result. I like it very much. I have my mirror there, so I look now that way. Very happy with it. After this, I'm gonna make the pant number 3, and I have this fabric for it. It's crushed velvet. They call it velour de pan, And the funny thing with this is when you hold it this way, it has another color than you hold it this way. Can you see that? Maybe it's not clear on camera, but one side is lighter, and when it's upside down, it's not this or that way, but it's upside down. This way is the right way, and this is the wrong way. But you can use any way you like. It is, I don't know what it is in English, they call it the vleug in Dutch, and it's when you hold it upside down, it's darker or lighter. So you can choose whatever color you like to make your garment of. And I'm gonna use this for the paperback trousers, so I'm very surprised what it will be, because you know I don't really like paperback trousers, but I want to make one to show you how you can make it. And I especially took this special fabric to make it someone else as the cotton that is normally made of. So I'm gonna make this now. I think I put it in a separate video because otherwise this video will be way too long again. So I'm gonna sew this now. I'll film it for you, and maybe I'll put it in an extra video, or maybe it's the video for next week. I don't know yet. I'll see how much time it takes, if I can do it in between. So if you like these videos, please subscribe and don't forget to click the bell so that you don't miss out on any videos, because I have really a lot of things coming that I already have in my mind. I only need to film and I don't have that much time, so it takes some time, but there will be quite a few nice videos coming up next. If you have suggestions, then please put it in the comment box, or you send me a DM. Also, if you have questions with making things, or if you don't understand what I explained, then don't hesitate to ask me, and I will get back to you to explain how you can do it and how you can make things. And again, I see myself in the mirror. I'm really happily surprised with this pants. And you know, I'm not really a pants person, but this looks so very nice. Also because of the fabric, of course, so don't be picky on the fabric. Pay a little bit more if it's a little bit more nice, because it will turn out when you have it made, and you'll be more happy than when you be picky on the price. When you can get fabrics very good pricing when you shop online, so try that. It will be a hit or miss sometimes, but usually you will get really nice fabrics. So I'm gonna start with this paperback pants, and I'll see you next week or earlier in this week with the result of this one, and I hope I will be just as happy as I with this pants. So I'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe, and we're gonna continue sewing. Bye, thanks for watching.